right.
Hello. We are here in the house.
RealMomly with Caitlin and Charlie. I always say
What's
everybody.
up?
How you doing? How you doing?
Happy Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
Really?
I hope it.
Yeah. These weeks, I don't know what day it is anymore. I know
It's
that.
hump day.
Yep. I know the governor just did something, announced that restaurants and retail stores can open at half capacity. No, 25%
really?
capacity. Yeah, I saw it on I looked it up. Well, I saw someone post like she's a salon owner and she was like, "Yeah, sorry guys, we're not in the first stage of being able to be open." So she had to, because everyone was planning on May 2nd.
Okay.
To reopen.
But salons can't open.
Nope, not yet. It's just restaurants and retail stores.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering how it's going to be able to be like TJ Maxx. There's going to be a line outside the door.
That's how they do it at Aldi's when I go shopping. You can only have a certain amount of people in there, and you have to wait in line. And every time somebody walks out, they'll let somebody in.
Damn.
Yeah.
I saw Aldi's was seeming pretty fucking serious about it.
Yeah. I wish Publix was a little more serious about it, just because when I like shopping during the weekends, when I do it, the lines are all the way down the aisles.
Really?
All the way down. Like, I was at the end of one of the aisles in the back of the store waiting in line. Yeah.
That's insane.
So crazy.
The one in Rockledge on US 1, apparently someone there got it, one of the employees, but it's so much smaller than the Vieira one off Stadium Parkway that it's still like safer for us to go to the one in Rockledge because it's less people there.
Yeah, I saw that article. I sent it to a friend of mine who shops over there too. So I saw that. But I mean, if you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think anywhere is truly safe, but because I'm sure that there's people out there that have it, know they have it, and are still going to the damn grocery store.
That's true.
So,
I hope everyone's been safe.
Yeah.
I
That's just,
feel like I keep on saying these things that it's just like human population control. Like, just let them go. Just let everybody spread it and just what was that? Natural selection.
Yeah. Whatever happens, happens.
Exactly. It's nature's way. Not saying that I feel that way, but I've seen a lot of posts about that.
Yeah. It's just it's a crappy situation. I'm curious to see how everything's going to be now that restaurants and the stores can open, even at 25%.
I know. I'm kind of wondering, like, how are they on it? Like, honestly, how are you going to fucking regulate it?
Yeah.
If people want more, like, people are going to want business. Apparently, I heard on Facebook, some guy has been doing, like, interviews with all these local musicians. And Hot Pink is supposed to be at Sandbar May 2nd. Right? Can you fucking imagine?
Yeah.
How are they going to control the what?
No idea.
It's always an insane and packed, completely packed when Hot Pink are in there. Trying to serve customers is a fucking bitch.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Anxiety through the roof. You're
Yeah,
like, nope,
like,
I'm going to be right over here. You come to me. Bring
Exactly.
cash only. Yep. You start out with
Exactly.
your customers. You get real friendly, and you're like, all right, now I'm going to be over there. You come to me when you want drinks, and I'll bring them right to you.
Yep.
Don't move. It's fucked up. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm thinking that it's gonna get worse, and we're gonna do another wave, and then we're gonna have to shut down everything again.
Bro, I'm broke now. Like this needs to be figured out.
Yeah.
But
I mean, China's on their second wave. They opened too early, and then now they're shut down again. So
really,
it's
is
like,
that's confirmed? I thought someone told me that they were worried about a second wave, but they're shut down
um,
again.
that's what I saw. I saw a couple articles that they were shut down, but you never know with the news.
That's
I don't live in
true.
China, so I don't really know.
That's true. I've been
Yeah.
trying to look up like real news, like no fake news. I don't know. No fake news, please. Like, give me the real stuff that I need to
Hashtag no
know.
fake news.
But I did. I literally looked it up on Facebook. And then it's just like, how do you know if it's credible? How do you really
Yeah.
know? You don't. I don't
don't.
fucking know.
You don't know.
So I stopped searching it and just, figured I'd
Let
stick
it
with the
ride.
news junkie.
Yeah.
104.1. I'm a little tipsy.
right.
Okay.
So, we are going to get into our birth stories.
Yeah, fun topic. How do you want to do it? Do you want to do like order like Oakland, Cole, Emmy?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll start. Let's go. Birth story.
Okay. So, I mean, how into detail are we
However
talking
you
about? Like
want.
just like labor and birth?
Honestly, you can whatever you feel. Like if you want to talk about how you felt. So, okay, honestly, the day, okay, were you scheduled to be induced or was it like you were just what happened? How did it
Go with the
start?
flow. Okay, so my due date for Oakland was, oh my gosh, I don't even remember
The
what her due date
21st? I
was.
thought it was like the 20 something. She was born on the 19th, right?
Yeah, she was born on the 19th, so maybe it was the 21st that I was due.
Okay.
I don't remember, something like that. And no, my my due date was before that.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I waited until my due date, at least until my due date before I scheduled my
Induction.
yeah,
Okay.
because I wanted to go naturally, but that's not what happened. But regardless, it doesn't matter. So she didn't come on her due date. We waited, and then so our doctor's office has 4 different doctors, and they take turns being on call.
Like 1
So
week on, 1 week off. No, there's like 4 of them.
Yeah.
So they all have 1 week.
Yeah, something like that. So I wanted a specific doctor. I wanted this doctor that I just really liked and was going to more than the others. And she was scheduled to be on call. I think the weekend before I was my induction and that Monday. So I was like, so my final appointment or my appointment on my due date or whatever, she was like, so I'm gonna be there on Monday, but then that's like it. And I wanted her, so I was like, all right, let's schedule it for Monday.
So you scheduled the induction.
Yeah.
Did you have a birth plan going into it? Did you have like a set of things that you wanted specifically?
No, I had no idea. It was just like kind of like we'll wait and see, because you don't know. Of course every pregnancy, every labor and delivery is different, but this is your first one, so like you don't really know. I went in it knowing that yes, I wanted an epidural.
Okay.
I wanted to try and hang on as long as possible naturally, before I jumped into getting an epidural, because I heard like horror stories about if you get it too early and this and that. Like you don't know.
Yeah, if you get it too early, then it like
Then
fading
it wears
off,
off.
and then you're feeling full blown.
Yeah, because I didn't know that it was like a continuous drip. Like it won't wear off. But I guess before
that, I feel like it was. I feel like it could wear off. I don't feel like. I feel like the drip is like more recent.
Maybe. So
I don't know.
I went in, we scheduled it Monday morning, and I had to be there at like 5:45.
How are you feeling the night before?
Oh my gosh, so anxious. I mean, of course I was so ready. I couldn't even tie my own shoes,
I
but
could not imagine like planning it, like knowing, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna have a baby. Like not knowing
right?
like when you're gonna have it in the first place is already like, okay, it could be any time now, and you have to be
Yep.
prepared. But actually having it scheduled and being like, all right, tomorrow morning I have to be there at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna fucking have a baby. I'm going into labor.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking. I did not sleep. I mean, not that I was sleeping great anyway, but I was just so nervous, and I was like, I was so nervous. Just it was so.
Hold on, you muted. You went away.
Oh, can you
Okay,
hear
there you
me?
are. There you go. Restart. Yep. Just
Okay,
restart that
so
sentence.
um um like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if, I didn't know anything
Yeah.
going into it.
Did you read any books
So
or anything prior to this, or do you just kind of like read? Did you
I
look at
read,
pictures on your app and stuff like that? That was kind of like,
yeah, I Googled a lot of shit and talked to friends that just had babies, that just went through it, that were able to give me a little advice.
mm-hmm.
I read what to expect when you're expecting, but that doesn't really give you too much
It
information
really
on
doesn't. I
labor
just
and
looked at the
delivery.
pictures.
Yeah. So we went in. Of course, I had like full bag full of shit that I never even touched the whole time I was in there. But I had shit that you didn't even think about needing or whatever. But it was all like I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. So we went in. I was so nervous. I was like shaking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember exactly because the one that's like fresh in my memory is Emmy's.
Emmy.
So I'm like trying to. Um, I'm trying to remember. I think, um, you do your paperwork and shit, and they put
Yeah.
you up in the room,
So you went in
and
at 6 a.m. though, right? 6 or 8?
yeah,
6.
6.
When
Yeah,
did
because
they
they wanted
start?
to.
Start it as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I went in, and I walked in or whatever because I wasn't in labor, so
Yeah.
I didn't need a wheelchair.
Were
And
you like 39 weeks plus or 40 weeks plus?
40,
40.
40,
Okay.
yeah. Um, and um, I remember I was like so unbelievably anxious that when the nurse was putting my IV in, I like almost passed out. Like I
Mm-hmm.
turned ghost white. I like couldn't breathe, and they were worried about the baby. The nurse was so good about not acting like she was worried about the baby, but she was like secretly calling for help
I gotcha.
because if I am not getting oxygen,
The
then the baby's
baby's
not
not.
getting
That was
oxygen.
one thing I noticed, that all of the nurses were really good on not trying to make you panic.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were
they were.
really good at like, covering their shit, and especially when something was going wrong, they didn't let you know it. They
Yeah,
did not let you know it. I mean, they told maybe the people in the room, but not you.
yeah. So she was, and I could feel it. I could feel because I think the problem, like I was just building everything up. I was so
You were
anxious
so
that her just putting the IV in my hand, just like
was it. That was like your
that.
adrenaline like
Oh
topped
yeah,
out.
yeah. And she was like, oh, does do needles scare you or whatever? And no, like I've never had any issue with the needle, but I think like the whole process and like not knowing, I was so beyond anxious that I almost
Yeah.
passed out. So they put oxygen on me, um, and she called in all the other nurses, and they came in, and I was like laying there taking deep breaths, and I find like it was like pretty quick. I came out of it. She was really good at like calming me down and just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, breathe, just take a breath. So I came out of it, relaxed. Um, the IV was in, and then they started Pitocin drip around 7 a.m. and they started, little by little. And
Who was in the room with you?
my mom and Sherrod.
Okay.
Yeah, they were both there. And luckily, I was really happy to have my mom there because
Oh, yeah.
like Strahd and I weren't like how we were with Emmy. We were kind of like we were together, but like it was weird. And when you go through something like that, it's like you want to have somebody that you're just super
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with. So like especially with the whole passing out thing. So I was very like my mom was right there, like helping me, which was really nice. Um, but so they started the Pitocin drip, and it was like a little bit at a time, and I was having contractions, but I didn't feel them. We were just
Okay.
chilling, and
How long would you say that you went without feeling contractions? Without like
um,
really, really feeling them?
so I went quite a while. I went until they broke my water, basically.
Sorry, my dogs are barking. Puppies, hush. How many hours do you think?
So they came in and broke my water at noon.
Okay. Four
So from
hours.
7 to noon, I didn't really,
About 5 hours.
you know, yeah, I didn't really feel anything. They would come in and check, and I was like 1 or 2 centimeters dilated. It was nothing crazy.
So did you
Uh,
take a long time to dilate?
no. So I was at 2 centimeters before I went in from the
Oh,
last
okay. Nice.
from the very last doctor's appointment. I was like the
Two
very last one.
centimeters.
Yeah, I was
And
two
were
centimeters,
you
and they were
fully
like, "Oh,
effaced? I never know what that
yeah."
means. I know it's the
I
like
was
the lining, but
yeah, I was 80%.
I was always told that like that's the most significant thing. Like you could
Yeah,
be like 4 centimeters, but if you're like not like not effaced at all, like you're not.
I was 80% and 2 centimeters the last doctor's appointment I had because when I went in Monday morning, Dr. Burrows was really surprised to see me because she swore that I
You
was
were
going to have
gonna
that
go into
issue
labor.
before then. Yeah.
Damn.
So, so at noon she came in and broke my water with that fancy stick thing, shoved it all up in there.
You said it looked like a hook,
Uh,
right?
uh, no, it's
Like a hanger.
um like a long piece of hard plastic with a pointy end. That's it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So she just I um broke my water and it came gushing out, which was the weirdest feeling ever.
Could you feel the
It's literally
pressure?
like you're peeing yourself. I don't know about so much as the pressure, but she did that, and then I lasted maybe then the contractions started coming more
Building, yeah.
regularly, and then they pretty much took me off of the Pitocin because I was contracting normally, and they didn't really need to um, do it anymore. I didn't need the Pitocin. My body was doing it naturally.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome.
So, yeah. So, then around, I got the epidural at like, let's see, broke my water at noon. I probably got the epidural around 1:45.
Okay.
Um,
Were you feeling the
so
contractions at this point? Were you feeling like
yeah, so right after she broke my water, I could feel it. It was like a wave. It was like
so did you
hard.
have like a huge wave of contraction and then it was like you were pain free? You had like a relax like a
Yeah,
moment of breath like to be able to breathe?
yeah,
Damn. I
yep.
didn't have that.
Yeah, it was like a wave. It was like started from my stomach and it would tighten, which
Mhm.
didn't hurt. It just
You could
tightened.
feel it up though.
And yep, very top of my belly, right, like right under my boob.
Crazy.
And then it went down, and the further it went down, the more it hurt, and then it got really, really intense, and then it would relax.
What the
But I could
fuck?
feel it. But I could feel it coming on. So it was like I was like, okay, contraction,
One's
wave,
coming.
and then, yep. So then I got the epidural because I said F this,
Yeah.
and I took it for as long as I could, but I was like, okay, it's getting really, really intense. It was like, I was only getting, it was they were coming on very often. So I
Mhm.
got the epidural, which was I was also freaking out about because, you know, never had one before.
Yeah.
So But the doctor that came in was really good. He did a great job. It was super quick, and had the epidural, and then laid there for a little bit. They would switch me from
So you had the
um,
peanut in between your legs.
no, I
Peanut
didn't have the
looking
peanut
thing.
yet. They didn't give me the peanut. So let's see. She was born at 5:59. So they gave me the peanut at about, oh, Lord. So I think let's see, if I got the epidural around 1:45, 2, 3, 4, I would say about 4:30, 4:45 is
Okay.
when they gave me the peanut because nothing was happening, nothing was changing within those
So
two
what
hours.
happened that quick then from getting the peanut within like an
Yeah, so
hour?
I was still only 2 centimeters, but I was 100% effaced, I think, at that time. So, but I wasn't dilating anymore. So they're like, all right, we're going to try this peanut. So we did the peanut, and then I started getting, they would do side to side. So I would get like
Mm-hmm.
super sharp pain that I could feel on my back. So they switched me to the other side, um, and then she left the room, and then I was like, no, like there's something wrong. Like I was getting this pain. It was really weird. No, not like pressure or anything, but just like a sharp pain in my back. Like I was
Okay.
laying, weird or whatever.
And it hurt like you needed
So,
a pillow between your legs or something.
well, the peanut was there.
Oh
So,
yeah,
but that's
forgot.
what it felt like. That it was like pain like that, like a
Mm-hmm.
shooting pain. Like I needed to change position or something. So I had the peanut for 40 minutes
Okay.
or 45 minutes. And
Now what
when I,
centimeters have they when was the last time they checked you centimeter wise?
so
Dilated was.
I don't remember what I was when she came in before that, but she flipped me because I had the pain, and then she left because she was like, "I'm not gonna check you yet." And then I called her back in because I was like, "No, like, can we move me again or do something like?"
Something's
And
not
then,
feeling right.
yeah, when she pulled the peanut out, there was blood on the towel, so I was kind of like almost like freaking out, like, "Oh shit, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bleeding." But no, I was at 10 centimeters ready to go to push. The baby was like right, her head was like right
Right
there.
there. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. So they propped me up. They get you ready for the doctor. They
Mm-hmm.
bring, all the nurses come in and shit, and you just kind of sit there waiting. And so they're like, okay, we're gonna do some practice pushes. We want you. They show you how to do it. They wanted. They had Sherrod holding one leg and my mom holding the other leg,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then they were showing me like, like you put your head down and you just like push really hard, as
Yeah.
hard as you can. So they're like, all right, let's do practice pushes. So we did like 4 practice pushes, and she was coming out, and they were like, no, 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 wait, 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 like don't push, because the doctor wasn't in there. So Dr. B was in the middle of eating, so she ran in, she had food in her mouth,
Oh
and
my
she was like, dang girl, okay, let's go. So she came in, and then I pushed like, I don't, maybe like 2 more times or
And she
something
was
like that.
out.
She was out.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was very quick. And then uh I did tear with Oakland, so I got a second-degree tear. So I had to have stitches.
Mm-hmm. Not to be graphic, but you tore like to your butt.
No, that's fourth degree. But
So,
that's the direction that I tore.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like on the inside. It's not like on the outside of your
Right.
vagina. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And then it goes by degrees. So there's
Inside.
1 through 4, and 4 goes all the way to your sphincter, your like muscle,
And you
your
were
butt
two,
muscle.
you said?
Yeah, I was a 2, so it
Okay.
really wasn't too bad. She's like,
But it's
it
on
was,
like the inside of your vaginal canal.
yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yep, yeah. So, they had to sew me up and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel anything. And then uh of course we had visitors right away. And then there was so many people coming in that night after I gave birth. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was nobody in there when I came in that day. I was by myself in the hospital. And
Okay.
then right after I gave birth, all the rooms were full. So the nurses got slammed. So they just kind of left me sitting there. I stayed in the delivery room until
For a
about
while.
9:30. Yeah. Till about 9:30 at night before they moved me to my room because they were so busy with the other women in labor.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fine because I couldn't feel my legs anyway.
Yeah.
I was still coming out of that. And then they finally moved me. You know, they get you all cleaned up, you stand up, they make you go to the bathroom before they put you in the wheelchair and to wheel you to your room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, for my first delivery, it was like, I don't want to be like one of those. It's like easy peasy, no
Easy.
big deal.
Honestly though, you had her less than 12 hours. Like honestly for a first time birth, I feel like that's pretty fucking
Yeah,
like
the nurses were so surprised because the nurse who put my IV in the morning is the night nurse. So she works 7 to 7, the
oh,
night
okay.
shift. So she was like, when I come back at 7 tonight, I want you to have had this baby. So she came in right after I had the baby because Oakland was born at
And
5:59.
they start the
So
shift at 7, so they do the
yeah,
rounds and,
so
you
she
know.
came in right after, basically, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, yay, I'm so proud of you. You had her before I came back, and whatever." But I was thinking to myself, like, when she made that comment, like, I hope you better have her before I come back at 7. In my head, I was thinking, why wouldn't I? Because
Right.
I didn't know that people have 48
Long
hour
fucking
labors, and
labors.
yeah. So I didn't know that was a
That's
thing, but
awesome though that it was like and again, easy. I don't want to say easy, but it was pretty like
it was pretty easy. I
easy.
mean, I was really lucky, and everybody was healthy. I mean, besides the tear and the healing process, that was so rough. It was so rough
Are you
because I was not,
prepared for the pain afterwards?
yeah, not prepared at all whatsoever. I mean, nobody ever goes over it with you,
The pain.
and you have an epidural, so you don't really feel anything. So
Mhm.
like the aftermath of it, it's just like, and I was so scared to go to the bathroom by myself, or the process of healing. It was a
Mhm.
lot. It was pretty painful for me. I had a rough healing process. I mean, I healed really quickly, no issues, nothing, like it was fine. But for me, like, I wish that I had a little bit more to prepare me for it
Yeah.
than what I had, if that makes any sense, because I just, like my second time around was a heck of a lot better because I had already known like what
What's
was
going
gonna
to
happen.
happen? You were expecting
Yeah.
it.
So anyway, that's my first
Okie
birth
babe.
story.
How did you feel emotionally after giving birth?
Um, I didn't have like that super emotional crying moment when you first see your baby. Like I was just still kind of like,
In shock of it
like,
all?
oh yeah, like you got this thing on your chest, and you're just kind of like everyone's talking to you at once, and you don't know who to listen to,
Mhm.
or who to look at, or it was just kind of like I didn't have that moment of hysterically crying seeing my baby for the first time. I mean, of course I loved her, but it wasn't like I expected that moment and I didn't have it. Like
I
when you
got
find your
you.
wedding dress and you cry over it type of deal.
Mhm.
Like this is the one because I'm crying, you know?
I hate to compare it to like when you find the wedding dress and you're like, "This is the one. This is
Yeah.
it." I mean that's a completely different feeling to having a baby, but kind of like the same
Yeah.
idea. You have an idea of how it's gonna happen in your
Yeah.
head of how it's supposed
Yeah.
to be, and then it's most
So,
majority of the time it's completely different.
yeah, but everybody was healthy, and it was
She was the cutest little baby.
yeah,
How
she
much
was
did
a
she
big
weigh?
nugget. oh gosh, bad parent award. I think she was 8.4.
I was about to say 8 something. Yeah.
She was 8.4 and Emmy was 8.9.
Whoa!
Yeah. Because I swore after Emmy was born and they put her on my chest that Oki was bigger. But no,
M
Emmy was
was.
bigger. Yep.
Damn. My birth
Which
story
they
is
always
like,
say that your first one's the smallest and then all the ones.
after that are bigger. Is that really a thing?
I don't know. I think everybody's different in every way.
It's crazy though, because listening to your story, mine's completely different.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. So, okay. So, beginning of the week, I go to the doctor. It's a Monday, right? I don't even remember how many centimeters I was, but I know I was like 80-90% effaced and like a centimeter dilated on Monday or something like that. I remember I was
What was
30.
your due date?
My due date was January 1st.
That's right.
January
That's right.
1st, 2019. Yes.
Yeah.
So this was my 38-week checkup. This is when you're going like your last month and you're going every week or something like
Right.
that. Is it the last 2 months you're going every week? I don't know. I think it's the last month you go every week.
No, the last month you go every week.
Yeah, so it's my last month. I'm 38 weeks. I go in on the Monday. And she's like, all right. She's like, you cannot have this baby Christmas morning. She's like, if you do, you have to at least wait until my daughter opens her presents. She's like, but this baby's coming anytime. So this is, okay. So this is probably like the week before Christmas. Yeah, the week
Okay.
before Christmas. So I worked Tuesday. I worked all the way up until the week I gave birth. So I worked the Tuesday, Taco Tuesday at Sandbar, worked, and then Wednesday we hung out, Thursday hung out. So Thursday I started having like clear liquid come out, almost like I was like peeing a little tiny bit, but like my underwear was just wet continually all day long. And I'm like, all right, this is a little weird. And then I kept feeling like I had to poop. It was honestly legitimately like I had to poop. It was like those kind of pains in my stomach.
Okay.
So, so that evening at like 6 o'clock, I'm like, all right, maybe I should call just to see like what's happening. I was like, I kind of feel like I'm having contractions. Jake and I went on a huge walk. I mean, I felt fine. I felt completely fine. I went to Publix during the day. I was like having cravings, like I wanted cookies and chocolate chip frosting on it, you know. And so I called them and she's like, okay. She's like, those sound like contractions, the pooping sensation. She's like, those sound like contractions. She's like, so if you are having any clear fluid leaking, she's like, you need to come in right away. She's like, other than that, just start timing them. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I hang up the phone and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, I've been having clear fluid leaking all day. Like, what the fuck? So I call back and she's like, all right, you need to come in. Just to get checked. They do like a swab or whatever. So I had no other, like, I didn't have any major pains at all during the day.
Yeah.
I bounced on my little, you know, the ball you get. I was just bouncing. Yeah. But so I wait in the emergency room. I go up and she's like, all right, so, you know, we're going to swab and test. The only way to see if your water has broken is to do a swab. She's like, it takes about 30 minutes to test it. And I literally did not think I was in labor. I didn't bring anything to the hospital that I wanted. I had a birth plan. I had everything in order. Like, I wanted essential oils. I had clary sage ready, like, to start my contractions. Like, I had a whole thing planned. I wanted delayed cord cutting. Fuck, wrong way. I wanted to be as natural as possible. I did not want an epidural. I really wanted a bathtub. But I settled because
they didn't have them.
No, they didn't have them, and we had the same OB, so I had Dr. Burrows as well. And it turned out that the next day it was her week to start, so it worked out perfectly. Love her so fucking much, Dr. Burrows.
I know. She's awesome.
Dude, she's so fucking great. But I really did not think that we were staying. I went in flip-flops, sweatpants, like, I was like, no, we'll be home within the hour. Didn't bring anything. So, she comes.
After they swab you, did they leave you in the room?
Yeah, they left Jake
Were
and I
you
in
in
the
the
room.
delivery room when they swabbed you?
No, I was just in a room.
Oh, okay.
I was just in one of the rooms on the maternity suite,
Right. Okay.
maternity floor. So she leaves the room, and that's when my water started. I felt a contraction, and just water gushed everywhere like a fucking faucet, like just and every contraction I felt, it would get worse and worse, and more water would spurt out. It
Yeah.
was fucking
That's what happened
insane.
when she broke my water too. Every contraction I had after that, more came out.
So yeah, in the beginning, and they started I felt the pain immediately as soon as I had that first spurt of water. It was like pain. And I remember her coming back in and being like, "Yep, it's
Did you
your."
call her back in, or you waited for
I
her
waited
to
for her
come
to
back?
come back in. I waited, and she was like, "Yep, your water's broken." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, it is, bro." Like spurting fucking everywhere. And I'm like, "Can I get new sheets or something?" And she's like, "Nope, you're just gonna keep fucking flowing out water." She's like, "There's no point." She's like,
Yeah.
just like let it free, man." So I let it go. This is Thursday the 20th, December 20th. And we went into the hospital around 6, and I started having like major contractions around like 6:37.
Okay.
So my water fully broke around 6:37. So she's like, "Yeah, your water's broken, confirmed, whatever." So my family has this like Life 360 thing. We got it so we could track my youngest brother, my dad and I, so they could see. My brother was tracking me. He could see me at the hospital. So they come up, and my whole family's at the fucking hospital in my room with me, and I did not have like the waves of contractions you did. I had a continuous pain in my back the entire time. Like someone was just like driving a knife in my back. It was pressure. It was, oh my God, like the worst backache you've ever had in your entire fucking life. I was throwing up. I did not even realize people were in the room. I remember my brother's girlfriend was in there, and her telling me afterwards, she was like, "I hope you were okay with me being in there." She was like, "I kept telling your brother I need to leave, and your brother said I was fine." And I was like, "I do not remember you being there whatsoever." I was in another world, a complete other world. And the only thing that saved me during that time was being able to walk around. I remember being so scared, and whenever the nurse would come in, I would like completely like shut down. Like she would be like, "What's wrong? Like, are you okay?" I'd be full on crying. I didn't have my mom with me. I really wanted my mom, and I think that was my biggest thing, that I wanted my mom. And so every time the nurse would come in, I would like immediately stop crying. I'd suck it the fuck up and just like put it out of my mind.
Yeah.
So at this time, Jake's in the room with me. My dad and his girlfriend get there, and my brothers and his girlfriend. So they slept in like another room. But I remember walking around the hallways and scaring the other women because I was yelling so loud. So they made me go back to my room. But the best part was being in the shower with the massager on your back. Oh my God. That I thought while I was in the shower, I was like, I can do this. Like I can make it.
Yeah.
Until the nurse comes back in, and she's like, "Okay, you have to be still for about 30-45 minutes, and we have to monitor the baby." And I was like, this is where I can't sit still.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not going to happen. I remember I didn't want an epidural at all, but Jake at this point it's like probably like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, the following day. So I went 8 hours without having an epidural, 9 hours without having an epidural. And when she said I couldn't move anymore, that they had to monitor the baby, that's when I was like, all right, you need to fucking call someone up here and get me an epidural because I can't sit still.
Yeah.
It was like a continuous pain. There was no relaxation in between contractions. I fucking wish.
Aw, that sounds like back labor.
Yes, and your mom even told me that it's like you literally have to you can like see yourself. Like you're looking down upon yourself, and you're like, "Yep," like you like have to disassociate. You have to take yourself out of it because the pain is literally like another world.
Yeah. The contractions are, sometimes you can't feel them at all, and sometimes they're just like, holy shit.
Ooh. Yeah, because I've heard of girls literally being like, "Yep, I was in labor for an hour." And like
Yeah,
just like first one, "Yep, started
just
contractions,
flipped right on
had
out
the
of there.
baby." Like I fucking wish. So I got the epidural like 3, 4 in the morning. Um, I was at like 4 centimeters. When I got the epidural, that's when like I stopped dilating. So I
Did they
think
give you anything?
they at so I got the epidural like 3, 4 a.m. They started pitocin. I want to say at like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Um, and that's when they started pitocin. I had the peanut almost the entire time. One thing I hated about the epidural is the shaking. Like you're just
Oh.
jittering. You couldn't. I remember just sitting there being like, "Is this my anxiety or like, what the
I didn't do that
fuck?"
with, I did not shake at all with Oakland, but when I got my epidural with Emmy,
You were
oh yeah.
shaking. I felt like
Oh,
I
it
was
was
like
bad.
convulsing. I had to sit there and talk myself down, be like, "Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Like this is just like it's just the medicine. It's nothing
Yeah.
serious." But dude, honestly, I thought the epidural was gonna be way worse. Like really thought it was gonna be painful. And bro, you aren't feeling anything.
Nope. Nope.
You're at that point. You're just like nothing can hurt worse than this. And I remember
Yeah.
having a contraction in the middle of him sticking me with the needle. So I remember them being like, you have to be super still. You cannot move. And the only way I was dealing with the pain was by moving. So it was
Yeah.
super hard, but I could feel it just slowly, like the contraction just slowly, slowly fade away. And he's like, you should be feeling it go away by now. And I'm like, bro, I feel like on top of the world. This is the best. The pain just went away.
Like, woo, who's ready
Thank
to party?
God. Thank God. I was finally able to like have a conversation and in like,
Breathe.
yes. I
Yeah.
like I probably couldn't have done it without the epidural if I really think about it. But next time I will. But then I had the epidural. They started me pitocin at like 6, 7 a.m. So I have 4 centimeters, and I was kind of staying steady at 4 centimeters for a while. I honestly don't remember. No, probably about
I think you were at 4 when you texted me in the morning.
yeah, because I know I had Jake and everyone else texting you and Katie. Um, but yeah, 4 centimeters. I think I stayed at 4 centimeters for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, so probably around like, I feel like, so around like noon or 1 o'clock, I feel like they told me I was at 9 centimeters. I was at 9 centimeters for a while, they thought. So, I remember when they were finally took me to the delivery room and they're like, all right, you're at 9 centimeters, but the doctor wants you to start pushing. So around 3 o'clock, I went and started pushing. I think he was either no 3 o'clock. I started pushing.
Well, they had you in that queen's pose for a
Oh
while.
yeah, they did. I completely forgot about that. I wasn't dilating, so they took me and set me like straight up. They made the bed sit
Yeah.
straight up so that
And
I
drop
could.
your feet.
Yes, that was it. I completely forgot that. That was
Yeah.
interesting. It took me a while to
Yeah.
fully dilate, though. It took me
Yeah.
a while. So I think around 3, um, I was in labor for 24 hours. So yeah, so around 3, they took me to
Yeah,
the
because they
delivering
kicked us
room.
out around 3
Yes, that's
when
when, because I
when
went to
you
the
were.
delivery room and you guys were still all there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I started pushing and thank God for the epidural, but I could feel it. She told me she took out the epidural when I got down there. And I could feel the pressure. I could feel like I pushed. I got the mirror. I could see, like, I could see it. I didn't touch it, but I could see as like,
Oh, I
it
forgot
crowding.
about that. I forgot that. I don't know how I forgot that. That when they told me to stop pushing,
You could
when they
feel
were
her
getting it off,
head.
they were like, she's like her head's right there. You can feel it. And I kind of like hesitated. I was like, they're like, feel it. And I was kind of like, because I didn't know how I would feel,
I
like feeling
know.
down there. So I did. I felt down there, but she had a full head of hair. So like that's all I felt was hair. But it was so crazy. Oh my
I don't
gosh, I forgot
remember
about that
feeling
moment.
it, But I remember them, like, I pushed for almost 4 hours, 3.5 hours.
Yeah, for
And
a
then,
while.
yes, and them kept saying I was at 9 centimeters, but to come to find out, he was caught on my hip bone, or there was like leftover sack on the hip bone or something that was making it seem like I was only 9 centimeters, but I was actually 10 centimeters,
Okay.
is what I remember. So I pushed for like 3.5. I remember seeing in the mirror his head like almost coming out, and I could feel when I needed to push. I remember them being like, "Okay, no, don't push," and I'd be like, "No, like I need to push. I can feel it. I can feel him.
Yeah.
I can feel the pressure." So I pushed, and I could see his little head. It was super weird. I could see his head in the mirror. Um, but it was so fucking crazy, and I don't even know. Next thing I knew, he was out, and I had the full blown like tears, like fucking
Yeah.
bawling my
I
eyes
picture
out.
that. That was how you would be.
I'm just that kind of gal.
But you're just super emotional.
I
I'm not
totally
really
am.
emotional.
I totally am. No, I fucking bawled my eyes out. Jake was in the room, and so was my dad's girlfriend. And honestly, at the time, I don't know. I'm really grateful she was in the room. I'm super blessed. She honestly, like, she was there, like, like petting my hair and like being like that, like what your mom would be like. You're so like, you got this. You're so beautiful. You're doing so
Yeah.
good. But she could not hold my legs back. I remember Jake had one side, and then the nurse finally had to go on the other side because she just wasn't like, you have to like thrust your legs back, like
Yeah.
so
Oh,
you
yeah.
can push and put the pressure on their hands.
Yeah.
Um, she's just, she's a tiny little gal, but she just couldn't do that. But I'm really blessed to have her and her be in the room. I remember I felt completely different about her after giving birth to
Yeah.
Cole. I had a completely different outlook about her and my dad's relationship, which is still hard to deal with. But I think honestly though, that was my biggest dilemma, not having my mom and kind of like keeping that down and not really expressing that enough.
Yeah.
But dude, no, that was like the best. I remember seeing Cole and him crying and just being like, he is fucking perfect. He's so
He
fucking
was
perfect.
so tiny.
Dude,
He
6
was so, he
pounds,
was like, I
one
feel like
and a
he was
half
half the
ounces.
size of Oakland.
My little boy, he
I just remember
2
him
weeks
so tiny.
early, 38 weeks and 2 days, 6 pounds, 1.5 ounces, and I don't know how long he was, but oh man, jet black hair, jet
Yeah.
black, full head of hair. But I ripped not inside the butt area or whatever. I don't even know. Not that way, not towards my butt.
You ripped like
Towards
upwards.
Yeah, I ripped
Toward
right
your
next to
clit.
my clit. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
super fucking weird. It's still weird, and it didn't heal properly, and it kind of like, I'm not insecure about it because I mean, it's a vagina. Jake likes it, so fuck everybody else. But
You
but
could feel like a little piercing in there, a little
dude,
ring.
you totally could. It didn't hear correctly, so there's literally like a hole in my labia.
Yeah.
And it's starting to like give me issues. It's starting to like really fuck with me. So I'm gonna have to like call the OB and see what they can do. But she told me honestly, she's like, if you don't have any issues with it, she's like, just wait till you have another baby because you're gonna rip in most likely you're gonna rip in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
So for
What?
me, like pooping wasn't a problem, but peeing, holy fuck. It
Yeah.
hurts
See,
so
I was so
bad.
scared to poop after I had Oakland. I was so scared. Because I was so scared, like, when you poop, you're like, you push, to poop, and I was so afraid that everything was
It's
going to
gonna
rip
tear.
open. Oh, I was so
Yeah.
nervous for that.
I didn't like that was one thing I didn't even think about. And like when you're I mean, that time after you give birth, I mean, you are swollen like you've never been before. You are like on a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, bro, you have so many different liquids coming out of you. You don't even fucking know what's going on. And this is just reality.
Yeah.
It smells fucking like shit. Like, it's disgusting. But that was,
Yeah.
and I even like, you can barely fucking wipe. You're just dabbing along. And I still didn't heal correctly. I barely wiped. You're just dabbing. You're rinsing with water.
Yeah.
And I have a hole in my fucking labia. What the fuck?
Well, hopefully they can fix it. Why is it bothering you now?
Because because it didn't heal properly and there's a hole in it. So it hangs down lower than
Yeah.
the rest of it. So, you can like underwear. It's super uncomfortable to wear underwear. You can feel the underwear pressing up against it, and it like I don't know. It's just like it sticks out, and it's not supposed to fucking stick out that much for me at
Gotcha.
least. And like honestly, I don't fully shave my fucking vag, so I do have hair down there. You can feel the hair poking it, and that really hurts. But especially like during sex, it like if I get dry at all, it is like a serious pain down there, like it's going to rip apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I would have her take a look at it unless y'all are
the
gonna have
only
another
thing that
baby.
deters me is, well, and that's the thing. She's like, we can do it now, but we're gonna have to like cut the sides off and completely resew it. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
have to split it open again
Yeah.
and completely resew it. So she was like, because it didn't bother me for the longest time, just in the past like month or two, it started to really
Yeah.
bother me. So I don't know if it's
Well,
just like still like it's like coming apart because it's only one stitch holding it together.
gotcha.
It's one tiny little stitch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She like gave me serious pain medications because she didn't realize like I don't know if she like, I mean, I hope other women have, I don't hope other women have ripped that way, but like,
I don't know because I was so jealous that you got pain medicine and I didn't. I was like, what the
dude,
hell?
she gave me full like 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and a full thing of, not a full, I don't even know the dosages, but like Oxycontin or oxycodone or something like that.
Yeah. I didn't. I got ibuprofen and I'm like, I feel like my vagina is split all the way to my butthole
Butthole.
and you're gonna give me ibuprofen? Okay.
Dude, but your clit though, right next to your clit.
Yeah.
I
I
was so
can't.
afraid that I wasn't going to be able to like orgasm afterwards.
Yeah.
But
I feel ya.
I honestly feel like every woman though, when they're like, when it's like the 6 weeks and it's like, all right, you're able to have sex again. Everything's healed. Like you're good to
Oh,
go.
no.
You're like so nervous. You're like, all right, it's such a scary thing to think about. I was totally ready
Yeah.
at 6 weeks, but it was super freaky to like have something go up there
It's so
again.
freaky. I was just like, okay, be very careful. It's like your first time,
Lots of lube. Lots of lube.
Lots.
Yeah,
It
because
was
you don't want any
definitely,
friction. You don't want anything down there to happen.
nope.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
definitely,
It's so
it's so crazy
terrifying.
how our body goes through something like that and how, like, serious
Dude, right?
something can happen and then it just be back to normal.
How long? Because I remember being in the hospital and all the nurses, literally all of them asked me, like, all right, so you're going to have another one? And I remember being in the hospital and being like, no, I'm never doing this again. But also being on such a high, on such like a happy high that like nothing could fucking ruin my day.
Yeah.
Not like, no, like, and then honestly, within like a week, no. After I healed, that's when I was like, I don't even remember the pain. Like, what? I was in pain? I don't
Yeah.
remember it at all.
Yeah.
I just
I think
remember
that
getting
happens
this
on
perfect
purpose. So
fucking
we
human.
have
Yeah.
freaking more kids.
Right? Like, no wonder we keep having children because literally within weeks, you're just like, I had the perfect baby. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I almost died. Don't remember. Had the perfect baby, though.
Don't have a vagina anymore. I don't remember that. I just
Dude,
remember my kid.
my ass is flabby. My boobs are flabby, but that's okay. Had a perfect kid.
Yeah. Yeah, my see, it's really hard to be like, "Oh, I was ready to have another one," because was I ready? No. Was I
I
mentally
don't think I
prepared?
was
And I
ready to
think
have the first one.
Mentally, after we found out we were pregnant with the second one, Emmy, I was so nervous because all I could think about was labor. And I was just
I
like, oh
remember
my
that
God,
was
I
your main
don't want to
thing.
go through that again. I just don't want to do it. Um, I just like, I was so nervous. I was just like, it was a whole other level.
How how long was it until you found out you were pregnant again? Like how old was Oakland? How many weeks out postpartum were you? Months.
Oh gosh. Okay. So, um, Oakland was born in March, and we found out we were pregnant.
Like 3 months later, right? Because
Yeah, like
they're like exactly a
July.
year apart. A year and a
Yeah,
week.
so maybe like the end of June or very beginning of
Wow.
July. But it was funny because I was supposed to go in. I like you go for your 6 week or whatever,
Yeah.
and then I was getting birth control. I was gonna get an IUD, but they had to order it, so it hadn't come in yet when I went in for my 6 weeks. So they made an appointment for me to go in to get it when they got it. And for some reason there was a holdup at the pharmacy, and the pharmacy was like trying to contact me, but wasn't getting through or something. And finally, they were able to get through, and I answered, and then they were like, "Oh, we just need your permission to send it or whatever."
To the doctor's office.
Yeah, so it took longer than usual. And then the doctor called me, and they're like, "Oh, we got it, so you can come in." And then so they scheduled my doctor's appointment, and then to go get the IUD, and I had like this weird feeling. I'm like, "No, let me take a pregnancy test first." Like I just had like
That's super
I
weird. You
didn't
just
have
felt
that.
it.
Yeah, I didn't have that feeling with Oakland at all. Like I did not expect to be pregnant, but I was like, I just had this like, I think I just knew I was pregnant. Let me take a test before I go in there. So I took it. So I told Sherrod, and he's like, all right, so let's get a test. So we bought a test, and I took it. And I remember coming out of the bathroom, and Oki was only like 3.5 months or something like that. She wasn't very old, sitting next to
Holy
Sherrod on the
fuck.
couch, and I was like, well, it's positive. And he's like, he didn't believe me at first. He's like, no, it's not. And
How
I'm
did
like,
you feel in that moment? Did you want to cry? Were you just like, holy
yeah,
shit?
yeah. I was like, no, we're not doing this again right now. Like, we could barely handle the 3.5 month old, like another baby on top of that. Whew. I was just like, this is gonna be a lot. Like, it was just a lot to process in a moment. So, um, I with Oki, talking about like abortion and all that, it never crossed my mind with Oki, but it did
With M.
with Emmy because I was just like, can we? Sherrod and I were just newly together, just had a baby. Like, we were still trying to figure shit out. Like, were we ready financially to have another one? Like, I wanted to make sure that, the baby, that our kids are going to be raised good and not
Yeah.
just like, oh, well, we got another one, can't pay our bills, but we got 10 kids,
Yeah.
like I didn't want to be like that. So it was definitely a thought that crossed my mind. Um, and I mean, we kind of talked about it, it was like, I don't know, it wasn't like really a hard decision because I knew in my mind, like, I would never be able to go through something like that,
Yeah.
and be okay for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I would always wonder, like, what if, like, who would that kid be today? Like, you know, I just,
That's not for you. That's something you couldn't do.
yeah, I think it would, like, mentally break me down. I think that would be, like, my breaking point for me. Like, I personally would not be able to handle,
Living with
um,
that.
yeah, yeah. So, um, anyway, of course we had her because now we have perfect little Emmy, and, I don't know what life would be like without her.
She's so fucking
So,
cute.
but my birth was almost pretty similar. My pregnancy was pretty similar. I had a couple different issues with her because I was even fatter. Like I had gained even more weight with Emmy than I did with Oki. So because I hadn't lost that weight from the
From
first round,
yeah.
so I was having more issues as far as like sciatic pain,
That
that
was
type
my
of deal.
biggest thing throughout the pregnancy, the sciatic nerve
Yeah. So
pain.
I started going to a chiropractor, which really, really helped me out a lot. They showed me, like, between Dr. Burrows and the chiropractor, they showed me, like, stretches and moves to do while pregnant to work on my sciatic and, like, everything else.
Mhm.
So for Emmy, her, I don't remember, she came, let's see, her due date was the 27th
Okay.
of March. And she was actually born on the 25th. So same thing. I wanted Dr. B again, and she was scheduled for the Monday before my due date to be on call. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just do the induction. If she's not here by then on that Monday, we'll just go ahead and do it. Like I won't wait till my due date because I really wanted her.
Dr. Burrows.
So yeah, so we scheduled it, and then that Sunday I was having like what you had, like it was almost like I was peeing myself, like I was just like a little wet. I wasn't quite sure what it was. I thought maybe it was just like a little extra discharge or
Mhm.
something.
That's
I was
exactly
wearing a
what I thought
pad.
it. I thought it was like the mucus plug still coming out or something.
Yeah. So I wore a pad um that day, and I went to the grocery store. I went to Target with my mom, and we ran errands during the day. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I think maybe this is my water. But I'd never got like a big, it was just like small amounts. And I
Mhm.
told my mom, I remember talking to her, and I was like, I think maybe it might be my water. So we went to the park, I think, after I ran errands with my mom. We walked around the park, and I was like, you know what? I think maybe we should just go get checked. So we decided we were going to go that Sunday night after Oki went to bed.
Mhm.
So I packed a bag because, of course, I was not prepared this time around. Um, so I packed a bag, and Sherrod, I think he had already had his bag packed. But so we went to go get checked because I wasn't sure. I wasn't having anything else. I never like ended up losing my mucus plug, at least that
That you
I
know of.
saw. Yeah. Um, and I was just like, let's just, we'll just go get checked, whatever. And I figured that they would probably keep me anyway because I was scheduled to be there in the like at 5:30 in the morning to be
The
induced
next
again.
day, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm thinking they'll probably just keep us, so let's take our stuff.
Mhm.
So we went in, and I told the lady, the work in the front desk or whatever, I was like, I think my water broke, but I think, I just need to be checked to be sure. I'm not sure. So they got me a wheelchair, um, and sat me in the back of the ER.
Okay.
Like, they took me to the back where the rooms are, but I sat in the hallway in a wheelchair.
Huh.
And they did, like, vitals and stuff while I sat in the wheelchair. And then the labor and delivery nurse came down and got me. And once again, I was the only one in the hospital, in the labor and
Oh,
delivery
that's
area of the
nice.
hospital. Yeah, I was the only one again. So I went in, and this nurse had to have been like new or something because um, I was more chill this time around with my IV. I didn't, faint or whatever.
You weren't as
But she,
anxious or anything?
yeah, because I knew. So she poked me and couldn't do it. I think she tried twice, and she's like, I'm gonna get the other nurse because you know, can't poke you so much or whatever.
Mhm.
So she got a different nurse who came in and did my IV. And she's like, we're just going to go ahead and do the IV now, while you're waiting for the swab because they swabbed me to see if it was my
Or
water.
Birkin.
So she did the IV. because they were gonna admit me anyway. So she's like, I'm just gonna do it. And then she came back after she hooked up the IV, and she was like, yeah, it's your water. Um, so they didn't do Pitocin until the following day because, of course, they want to wait for the doctor. They don't want you to have the baby in the middle of the night.
That's true. That's so weird. I
So
think about because um, the nurses do everything.
I
Literally, the
know.
doctor is only in there, like legitimately, like as the baby's coming out,
Yep. And to sew you up,
and to
and
sew
that's it.
you
Well,
up,
I guess
and
the
then they're
doctor has
gone.
to be there in case you have to have a C-section too.
That's true. But I feel like, dude, nurses are gonna rule the world.
Yeah, they do a lot.
They do. I
The
mean,
nurses do everything for you.
yes, they do. I had a few nurses that I was like, that you just like don't really vibe with that much. There's one in particular that I just remember her being so sweet and her trying so hard to help me not rip. You know how they like massage as you're
Yeah,
like pushing? Oh man, she was the nicest person fucking ever. Love her. But yes,
yeah.
sorry, keep going.
No, that's okay. So they didn't want to start the Pitocin drip until the morning because they didn't want me to go into labor, but they hooked the machine up to my belly um, to watch the baby. And I was just sitting in the bed, and um, it was only Sherrod this time because my mom stayed home with
Oakland.
Oakland. So it was just me and him, and we were just chilling. I think he turned on the TV or whatever. Like
Did you
nobody,
get an
like I didn't.
epidural right away again?
No, no. So I was just, we were just hanging. And the nurse came in and she's like, "Are you feeling that?" And I'm like, "Feeling what?" She's like, "You're having contractions." She's like, "You're having regular contractions."
And you weren't feeling
And
anything.
I wasn't feeling it, which I thought was really weird. I was like, "No, I'm not feeling it." And she's like, "Well, you're, you're having normal
Damn.
contractions or whatever." Yeah. So, um, I'm trying to remember correctly because I know that I'm like, I don't want to get them
Confused.
confused.
Yeah, well, and honestly, in the moment, like, there's even things like I remember Jake and Tammy telling me afterwards that the nurses and everyone was like worried that I was gonna have to have a C-section because they thought he was like caught on my hip and like you said earlier, they don't tell you, they don't let you like they don't like make sure you don't panic.
Yeah. So
Like
I think that's the worst thing that could happen is for you to panic.
because
So
exactly, I remember I read in the a birthing book because I really wanted to have a natural birth, and the way they said like you need to be emotionally open because it's just like your sphincter. When you're giving birth, if you're closed off emotionally, your sphincter is going to be closed off. And I
yeah,
remember feeling that whenever the nurse would walk in, I would shut down immediately and close down. And
yeah,
she tried to ask me what's wrong, and I just wouldn't talk about it.
yeah.
But I also didn't feel comfortable because she was super nice, but also kind of like like stern, like she would beat my ass if I
Oh
did
yeah,
anything wrong.
you're right.
But I don't know where I was going with it, but yeah,
But so where was I? I don't
you were
remember.
trying to remember.
Oh, she was coming in and
There you
she was
go.
like, are you feeling that? And I said no, and I don't remember exactly when I got the epidural. It was when my contractions started to become more regular, but I can't remember exactly because they started a Pitocin drip, I think, not at 7, they started a little earlier, I think at like 6. Because I was contracting normal, but I wasn't on the level that they wanted me to be at or whatever. And
Do you
she's
know
like,
how
since you're,
many centimeters dilated you were?
I don't remember, it wasn't a lot again. Um, I don't remember. So, I can't remember if I got the epidural before. I think I got it before the Pitocin drip.
Okay.
So, um, maybe at like shit, I don't remember.
You were feeling them though when you got the epidural.
Yeah, yeah. Like I waited until I was like, okay, I can't handle it anymore. I'm thinking it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because I remember her telling me to make sure I tell her like 30 minutes.
That's what
Like,
they told me too. She was
yeah,
like, you
because
need to
he
tell
wasn't
me.
there. They had to call him to the hospital.
Yep. And then I remember being like, he got there super fast after I called because even Jake, that was one thing I was super awesome with Jake is he made sure everything I wanted actually happened. Because you know when you're like in the middle of it and you're like,
Yeah,
fuck it, I don't even care anymore. Just like do whatever you have to do to get this fucking thing out of me. And Jake really, really stood by my side and was like, are you sure you want this epidural? Are you sure you like delayed cord cutting? I really
yeah,
wanted all that. And he was like super awesome with making sure it happened. Even in the moment, and I was like, dude, I don't care. I don't care. Like, do whatever you want. And he was the
yeah,
one that was like, no, do it this way.
yeah. So,
Just like
um,
blindsided by everything.
yeah, because the guy he came in really fast too after because he had literally just left the hospital because he had come back for something I forget, so he was there already, and then when she called him he had just pulled away, so he was right there.
Oh, that's super nice.
Yeah,
You come
so
right
he
back
came in
in.
and did it, and then they started rolling in the pitocin about 6, no, maybe it was 7, um, and then they did the peanut, but it didn't work as well as it did with Oakland. So they did that Queen's pose or whatever that you
Mm-hmm.
were in, and I was they put me in that pose at like I'm trying to think of the time that Emmy was born. She was born at 10 something, either 10 o'clock or 10. I'm such a bad parent. Oh my god.
You're not.
I think
No, you're
Sherrod,
not. I don't
I
remember
think
the
Sherrod
exact time Cole
remembers.
was born either. But
I remember Oki, but I just don't remember.
so
I'll
but
have
you
to
had
look.
both of them within like like about average 12-hour time.
Yeah, so they did the Pitocin, and then they put me in that Queen's pose at like I don't know, like 9:30 because the peanut wasn't working. So they did the peanut for when they started the Pitocin, so 7ish. So I had the peanut for a couple hours, and then it wasn't doing what it needed to do. I was dilated, but I forget not very much, maybe like 4 or 5 or something. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't where I needed to be. So they put me in that. I don't think I was in that Queen's pose that long.
Before you started really.
I was maybe they put me in it at 10. I don't know. But regardless, I wasn't in it very long. Um and then I could like this was I could feel like I was like I can feel it. And she was like, I asked however the epidural works. I was like, can I get more of that? Like
Mm-hmm.
I could but wasn't understanding like
Could you
I
feel
don't
the
like
pain or was it like pressure?
I could feel the pain, but then it switched to pressure, and I was trying to explain to her, and then because I remember they put me in it, and then I was in it for like maybe 30 minutes, and then um, I could start to feel like pressure, like I needed to push, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I called her into the room, and I was like, can you like I think there's like I wasn't sure what the feeling was, so I was like, can you check me? Like I'm feeling it. So she checked me and she was like, "You're ready. You're 10 centimeters. She's right there."
Nice.
So I could feel it. And then they didn't do practice pushes with me that
They
time.
just said start
Yeah.
pushing.
So they were like, "All right, we're gonna um, get the bed ready to put you down or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and start to push." So Dr. B was right there. I didn't do practice pushes or anything. Dr. B came in and she was like, "All right, um, you can feel it." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "You know when you need to push?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, we're following you."
Nice.
Yeah, she was like, "You make the decision when you're ready." And I would tell her, I'd be like, Sherrod had one leg, and I could feel like the wave of
Mm-hmm.
the contraction, and then I couldn't feel the pain as much. It was just the pressure. Like
Pressure.
it was
See, that's what
literally
I
just
felt, the
like
pressure.
yeah, it was literally like God's way of like letting my like having my body tell me that I need to put and the nurses were telling me that That's when you know you have a good epidural, is when you can't feel the pain, but you know when
So
you
you
can
need
push and
push.
you're in control of that. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay. So Dr. B came in and I did like, I told her, I was like, okay, I felt it coming. I was like, all right. And she's like, okay, push. And I pushed, I think, 3 times, and then she came out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was really fast. And then I tore again, the same exact. I mean, they didn't tell me, but
You tore in the same
um
exact spot. Was it the
yeah,
same
it was the same.
amount?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's one thing
I
I'm
think it might
super
have been
scared of again.
a little less of it, not as bad as the first one, but the same like area, just not as bad. And
Mm-hmm.
then the healing process was totally different. It was
Way
like,
easier.
oh yeah, way easier. Didn't hurt as bad. I was fine. Like up and
Wow.
walking yeah, I was good. It wasn't as bad as the first time around.
That was one thing I remember is, they take you to your room after you've had the epidural and you can't feel your legs, you can't fucking walk, and they take you to the bathroom and I remember them taking me to my bed and I'm being like, no, I need to go pee real quick. And they're like, all right. So they're like, all right, just stand up and start walking. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, let me just fucking, stand up, start walking. I literally, one leg I could feel, the other leg was completely dead. And then be like, yeah, so you just have to stand up. And I'm like, what if I need help in like an hour? And they're like, you just go. I'm like, I can't call you, like, you're not gonna help me. And they're like, no,
Yeah,
you got it.
after they brought me to my bed, Sherrod called them to come help me pee, and she was like, they asked him if, um, like I could, if I could feel my legs, and I said, yeah, kind of, and they were like, okay, you can go by yourself.
Right?
Yeah, but
I'm
they
like,
got slammed right after I had Emmy again.
they did.
So
I think they did that with Cole too, because I remember, like the one lady who did like the neonatal testing,
yeah,
that she was the one that was like, I'm the only one doing the testing, and she's like, and we have so many more babies than usual.
yeah, they had a ton. Right after I gave birth to Emmy, it was just like boom, 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 boom. All
Mm-hmm.
these, and everything was full. It was
Yeah.
completely full.
One thing I want to mention, we
So
did not give birth at Holmes. We went to Rockledge, and it's a way
yeah,
smaller facility. There, like, and I went there on purpose because it is smaller. It's not Holmes that's super fucking packed all the damn time. It's
yeah,
you get a
yeah,
little more attention,
yeah,
at least. And I feel like I didn't get a lot of attention, so I can't even imagine at Holmes where they have babies in there like all the fucking time.
yeah. Or like one of those big major hospitals in Orlando. Like
Right?
Winnie Palmer.
Hell no.
Yeah. So it was, it was almost identical. Like the births were pretty much.
Pretty exactly the
I just
same.
really liked, I really liked the fact that I could feel
The pressure.
when I needed to push. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my body's way of being like, okay, instead of them telling you and you have no idea and pushing like when you're not supposed to push, and like,
That was
like
one thing I
the doctor
hated.
was like, yeah, the doctor was like, okay, Dr. B was like, all right, you tell me, like you're in control,
Mm-hmm.
you can feel it, and that I was like, okay, I'm pushing.
Oh my God. Yeah,
So
that was
that was
one
really
thing.
good.
They kept telling me to push or telling me not to push when I knew I needed to push. And I'm like,
Yeah,
please, like, I promise you, I can feel this. Like, just let me. Because there were times where I'd be like, I could see his head was like right there and I wouldn't be pushing, but he was like stuck. But you
yeah,
could, like, it was fucking crazy, man.
yeah,
It's a crazy thing to think about.
so crazy.
Holy
I can't believe
fuck.
that thing, like, and Emmy was 8 pounds 9 ounces. Like she
Holy
was a big
shit.
baby coming out of my JJ, man.
Some babies are like 12 pounds. Could
Yeah,
you imagine? Vaginal birth, too. I've seen it. I follow a lot of like the natural pregnancy stuff and like natural births. And some
yeah.
women legitimately have 10, 12-pound babies vaginally and fucking rock it. Completely natural.
I mean, I guess you don't really like, but you honestly, you don't. You're not giving birth, and you're like, oh shit, this is a 13-pound baby. Like I legit thought that Emmy was smaller than Oki.
Yeah.
and
I
she
remember
wasn't.
thinking Cole was
Like
super
you can't
small.
feel the difference in your vagina
No,
whether
it
the
just,
baby
you're
is
just,
huge or not.
either you're still pushing out a fucking baby out your vag.
Yeah. So I was very lucky to, lucky and blessed to have short labors,
Mm-hmm.
and
Super
everything went
awesome.
smoothly,
Yeah.
you know.
If you could, next baby, or if you could go back and do things differently with things you know now, would you?
No,
That's good.
yeah,
I
I would do it all because I
all the
always
same.
said that I was like, I'm gonna get an epidural because I just know I'm gonna get one.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already like prepared, because I knew it was a pain, but I didn't really know like what level of pain.
It was.
Yeah, so I held on as long as possible, and I think I did pretty good. I mean,
Honestly, dude, as anyone, like every woman is like, dude, we're all doing the best we can in that moment. You're doing what your
yeah,
body's telling you to do. And, or
yeah,
at
and I
least
know a lot of
what
people
you
are like,
know to do at that time.
yeah, and I know a lot of people are like against epidurals, or like they say it's bad for you, or whatever. Like, okay, yeah, it's not like a supernatural process, but
But it worked for
you know,
you. That's literally all that matters. Like I would, and
yeah,
for me, I would do it completely differently next baby. I would never, I don't want to have a baby in the hospital again. I want to have like a midwife. I want to have an at-home birth with a tub. I want to do it
I
all at
think I would
home.
like to have a baby at home because I hate the 3 day staying in the hospital shit. Like, I felt like in the hospital, you feel like it's so hard to recover because
You're
I
not in
don't
your
know.
own space. You're
Yeah, as
like,
soon as you get home, it's like, all right, I feel so much better.
dude, for that was one thing for me is I did not feel comfortable in the hospital. Like I said before, every time the nurse would come in, I would completely shut down. I did not feel safe. I did not feel comfortable. Um, there were, and like there's just so many things that I would do completely differently. And not saying that I had a bad experience at all. I loved my OB. I loved Dr. Burrows. All the nurses were amazing. But there's so many things that I know now that I want to implement in my next pregnancy,
Yeah.
whenever that is. But definitely at home, I really want to try not to have I mean, if I'm at home, you can't have an epidural. So I really don't want to have an epidural. I think I really want to try and be as comfortable with, like, really get to know my midwife, have Jake, maybe not Cole. I don't think I'd feel comfortable with Cole being home.
Yeah.
Yikes. But in my own house, in my own element, where I can scream and fucking yell and not scare other women and have them tell me go back to my room, or have some nurse tell me that I need to sit still for an hour so they can monitor the baby. Like,
Yeah.
no, I know what my body needs to do in that time, and that's what I need to do. So,
Well, I mean, everybody has a different birth story, and it could go not as planned. I mean, I honestly didn't
exactly.
have a plan because I didn't know.
See, and I
So I just
did,
kind of was like
and it all
going
went
with the
out the
flow.
window. Exactly. See, I had a plan, and it all went out the window. Jake kept to it more than I did, you
Yeah.
know? So
So,
you just go with your gut. You go with how you feel. You go with, at
yeah.
least, no judgment whatsoever.
No, I
You're a
don't judge
badass for just fucking doing it. Badass
for real.
for having a baby and growing a human inside your body for 9 months, and then pooping them out
Yep.
in the worst imaginable pain of your entire life, and yet we continue to keep trying to pop them out. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, if guys had babies,
Oh, they're fucking
no,
pussies. They would not be able to handle it.
no way. They'd have one kid and be like, I'm done. That's it.
I would love that. I remember Jake being like, me being in so much pain, and he's like, you know how they have the contractions, you can see how high they go
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
screen, and him being like, they aren't even that bad on the screen, and I wanted to fucking punch him in the face. You sit here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
these contractions.
During that whole process, you're just like, damn, man, I really wish I was the boy.
Right? But I mean,
Like, they
even
just get to
Jake,
sit
like,
there.
dude, I remember because I mean, obviously I had the mirror, and that was one thing he didn't necessarily like, but I wanted the mirror. But he, he saw everything, and the nurses, I remember the nurses telling me, like, we thought he was going to pass out. We thought we were going to have to catch him because of me ripping and everything. Jake's like, no, I wasn't going to faint. But every nurse, Tammy even, was like, I thought he was going to pass out. I thought he wasn't.
Ron did so good. He stayed normal. Like, there was no, like, surprise expression, like, holy shit, what the hell's happening to your vagina? Like, he was very chill, calm, there for me. I was really surprised.
That's
super
good.
surprised.
Yeah, Jake was the same way. I didn't even notice his face, but I was so, like, in the moment that, like,
yeah,
I just remember picking up the baby.
Yeah, he watched both of them. I mean, how can you not watch when they're holding your leg and their head, like, right by your vagina?
Honestly, next time I would love for someone to take pictures, like professional pictures, during your birth, like during the whole process.
Yeah.
I just think that would be so amazing. There's so many emotions and just like, I think that'd be super fucking cool.
Yeah.
To have someone capture that.
Crazy moment that your body goes through, man.
Mm-hmm.
So crazy.
It's incredible. We're complete badasses.
Yeah. So that's our birth stories.
I know, super exciting. I don't think I've ever told like the full story before, which I'm probably even missing a lot of stuff because.
Oh, I'm sure.
You forget you forget, and you just literally like.
Yeah.
Like the pain, I remember it being super fucking bad, but I'd do it again.
Yeah.
God did that on purpose so we'd have more children.
Yeah. Well, it's just crazy. I know everyone, there's lots of people that don't get as lucky and have traumatic birthing experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just everybody's different.
That's super true. I feel like every birth is completely different.
Yeah. Everything for me was basically the same. I mean, I feel like they're the same freaking child, which is weird because I thought everything would be so different because everyone's like, everything's so different, pregnancy, births, all of that. But pretty much everything was the same. I feel like Emmy came a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
But like other than that, and I was in a little bit more pain, but I think it was just because I was bigger. My body wasn't used to being that big.
Yeah, well, and you had a lot of pain before you gave birth too, like in your back and
stuff. Yeah, I had
stuff.
sciatic already, so it was just like so intensified. It was crazy.
But you still had the waves of pain with Emmy, right? You didn't have like back labor.
Right. I just had the regular. I think my back was like hurting a little bit more during labor with her, but it wasn't like super intense. I was worried that I was going to have a lot of back labor because I was in so much pain throughout my pregnancy, but I didn't. It was like waves. Like I knew, like it's so weird to feel it as a wave because you can you feel your stomach tightens and then you're like like it's coming. You're like, oh no.
I can't even imagine that. I honestly think if I had contractions like that, I could have like done it without the epidural. Also being able to move around and be like in warm water and have like a massage on my back.
But it becomes less and less of a break. So the more
it comes faster and faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. So it's like a wave, and then a wave, and then like when it starts, it's like slow, but it becomes like contraction after contraction after contraction, and you're like, okay. And then it's less breathing time because you can feel it, but like I could feel it start to tighten, but I could also see it on the screen as well, so I could like look over.
I couldn't look at the screen. I stopped looking at that. After Jake told me they're so small, the contractions look so small on the screen.
You need to do that machine thingy that does the contraction pain for men.
Dude, that was on The Bachelorette. Hannah B's season.
I know, you need to do that to Jake.
I feel like all men need it.
Yeah.
All men.
They should be required to.
That should be in the birthing class.
Yeah, before they have a kid.
Fuck yeah. Did you do a birthing class before?
No.
Me
The only thing
neither.
I did differently was um after I had Oki, before I had Emmy, I did a tour of the hospital, which I thought was funny because I never did that with Oki and I was already in the hospital, but I wanted to see um like the C-section surgery area because
I
they take you
gotcha. I
downstairs and
gotcha.
show you and all that. So, because we were not prepared at all whatsoever for Oki. Um, and when I had Oki, I only saw the delivery room and then to my room, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So I never saw like the rest of the hospital. I never saw the nursery. I never saw because I came up the emergency. So I never
Okay.
saw where the baby. I never saw the
Where the
nursery where the
babies
baby.
went.
Yeah, so I wanted to see that, and I wanted to see the surgery room, the OR, whatever, um, during the tour. So we
Mm-hmm.
did. So I did the tour for that, but that was it. And then they showed us. They revamped the rooms since because it was taken over or whatever.
By a different company, yeah.
Yeah. So they did like the revamps and all the different
They
shit that you
gave you a
got for
bunch of free
free.
stuff. That was the best part.
Well, yeah, you pay in the hospital like $30,000.
Yeah. That was one thing
But
I
the sheets and like all that stuff was really nice. It was upscale. It was like hotel room. It wasn't like hospital sheets.
it was
That was
super
really
nice.
nice.
The food was even pretty decent.
Yeah.
I remember the
So
food being good. Well, not good,
yeah,
but
not bad.
mm-mm.
Edible.
Edible. But yeah, definitely next time I do it completely different with all the information that I have now and all the resources.
Well, once you go through it too, once you
Mm-hmm.
like know and you can prepare yourself and know like how to
Yeah.
prepare yourself.
Yeah, I mean even if every pregnancy is different, you can still you have like at least like a baseline of like, okay, this is what happened with Cole, like you have something to compare it to. You're not
Yeah,
just
because
going in
you have
fucking
no
blind as
idea.
fuck.
Yeah, because you have no idea the first time around.
No, none. None.
But yeah, crazy,
Fucking
crazy,
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've talked so much already.
That's all right. It was a good story. I love birth stories.
Yeah,
So emotional.
they are. I think it's cool to like hear different stories too,
I
and
think it's amazing
like
how they're all so different.
yeah,
It's so
so crazy.
incredible. Every woman is completely different. Dude, I
Yeah,
feel those women who used to carry like, in like I feel like it's so weird. The olden days, but they would have a rope from the ceiling and they would have like something they bit down on and they would pull on the rope for the pain. Like
oh
that's how
really?
yeah. They'd be
Hmm.
like in the barn or in the house or whatever and holding on to the rope.
Yeah,
Mhm.
crazy times.
I know we have so many more resources now, but I'd still rather
Yeah,
do it at home next time. I think
do a
that'd be
water
so much
birth.
more dude, for real. I think that next thing, even if I don't do it at home next time, water birth for sure. Or I have to have that like spa massage in my back.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah, for sure.
water birth.
Mhm.
All right, well,
Thanks everybody for listening.
yeah. Thanks for listening, and if you guys want to tell us about your birth stories, we'll
Yeah,
have you on as a guest.
for sure. Let us know. Any
Yeah,
like, any stories, that you think you could be like eye openers to women and
yeah,
awareness, good experience, bad experience.
anything like that.
Mhm.
Hit us up.
All right. Thanks, ladies. Women or
Yeah.
men too. Sorry, I was about to say ladies, women, men.
Men, and
Gender
remember to
neutral.
stay. Yeah. And if you like this episode, make sure you like and subscribe and 5-star us and all that
Please
jazz.
and thanks.
Comment. We want to know what you think.
Mhm.
So, all right, well, stay real momly.
Thanks.